Hello everyone. So previous classes I was discussing about issues in decision tree learning. In that I have discussed two of the important issues. One is avoiding overfitting the data, and second one is incorporating the continuous valued attributes. So in avoiding overfitting the data, so I discussed two approaches. One is reduced error pruning, and second one is rule post pruning. So these I have explained with respect to the different examples, that is learning problem examples. After that I have discussed about incorporating continuous valued attributes. So in today's class I am going to discuss the third one, that is alternative measure for selecting the attributes. So as you know, there is a natural bias in the information gain measure that favors the attributes with many values over those with few values. So this concept I discussed in one of the previous class. Now consider as an example the attribute date. Now consider this date attribute, right? So which is a very large number of possible values. So if you take a date as an attribute, of course the date is having a very large number of possible values. For example, consider some date. Consider the date as March 4, 1979. So if you want to add this attribute to the data in table, for example, consider so this type of table here. So if you want to add this particular date in table data, so it would have the highest information gain of any of the attributes. This is because the attribute date it alone cannot perfectly predict the target attribute over the training data, and hence it would be selected as the decision attribute for the root node of the tree, and it will lead to a tree of depth 1, so which will perfectly classify the training data. Of course this decision tree would fare poorly on the subsequent examples because it is not a useful predictor in spite of the fact that it perfectly separates the training data. Here, what is wrong with this attribute, that is date attribute? So, if you simply put it has so many possible values that it is bound to separate training example into very small subsets. Because of this, it will have a very high information gain relative to the training examples, despite being a very poor predictor of the target function over the unseen instances or the unknown instances. So this is what an issue here. So there are many ways to avoid this. So one way to avoid this difficulty is to select the decision attributes based on some measure other than the information gain. So one alternative measure that has been used successfully is a gain ratio. So gain ratio is one of the successful measure to avoid this difficulty. Means if you can use gain ratio other than information gain, so it will give you the one alternative measure that is the most successful measure. Here the gain ratio will measure the penalizes attributes such as the date by incorporating a term called as split information. Means gain ratio in turn it will make use of split information. So it will use this particular parameter, that is the split information, which is sensitive to how broadly and uniformly the attribute split the data. I hope split information is clear. Split information is nothing but it is a parameter which is sensitive to how broadly and uniformly the attribute split the data. So the gain ratio in turn it will make use of the split information. As you can see, there is a formula for split information, that is split information of s comma a is equal to minus a summation of si divided by s log si divided by s to the base 2, whereas I will range from I equal to 1 to c. Here from S1 to SC are the C subsets of examples resulting from partitioning capital S by C valued attributes. Here S1, S2, S3, that is from S1 to SC, or from S1 to uh, SC, which is nothing but these are all some subsets. For example, if it is SC, you can consider it as C subsets of examples resulting from partitioning a C valued attribute A, that is from S1 to SC. So here you can note that the split information is actually the entropy of S with respect to the values of attribute A. So this is in contrast to our previous uses of the entropy, in which we considered only the entropy of S with respect to the target attribute whose value is to be predicted by the learned tree. Then comes to the gain ratio. Here the gain ratio measure is defined in terms of the earlier gain measure as well as with respect to the split information. So as you can see, this formula for gain ratio, that is gain ratio of S comma A is equal to gain of S comma A divided by split information of S comma A. So here the gain ratio measure is defined in terms of the earlier gain measure as well as the split information. Here you can notice that the split information term, it discourages the selection of attributes with many uniformly distributed values. For example, consider a collection of n examples that are completely separated by attribute A. In this case, the attribute is date, right? So in this case, the split information value will be log n to the base 2. This is according to the formula. So the split information value will be log n to the base 2. So in contrast, a boolean attribute B that will split the same n examples exactly in half, that will have the split information of 1. It means that here if you consider a boolean attribute B, so that will split the same n examples exactly into half, and these are having the split information of 1. So if the attributes A and B they produce the same information again, then clearly B will score higher according to the gain ratio measure, right? So one practical issue that arises in using the gain ratio in place of gain is to select the attribute that the denominator can be 0 or very small, that is Si is approximately equal to S for one of the Si. So Si is nothing but it is a subset of the examples, right? So this either makes the gain ratio undefined or very large for the attributes that happen to have the same value for the nearly all the members of S, or you can say all the examples of S. So to avoid selecting attribute purely on this basis, we can adopt some heuristic such as the first calculating the gain of each attribute, then applying the gain ratio test, only considering those attributes with the above average or above the average gain. Of course, this is what one of the best measure here or best solution. So what we have to do is to avoid selecting the attribute. So first you can adopt some heuristic by calculating the gain of each attribute, then applying the gain ratio test for only those attributes which have uh, more than average gain or above the average gain. So this will avoid whatever the problem we have in this with respect to the gain ratio. And an alternative to gain ratio designed by directly addressing the above difficulty is a distance-based measure introduced by one of the researcher, that is Menteras. So this measure is based on defining a distant metric between the partitions of data where each attribute is evaluated based on the distance between the data partitions that it creates and the perfect partition, and the attribute whose partition is closest to the perfect partition, that will be chosen. So this is what one of the approach that is given by Lopez de Menteras. So he defines this distance measure, proves that it is not based toward the attribute with large number of values, and it will report experimental studies indicating that the predictive accuracy of the induced tree is not significantly different from obtaining the gain and the gain ratio measures. However, this distance measure avoids the practical difficulties which are associated with the gain ratio measures, and in his experiments it produces significantly small trees in case of the data sets whose attributes are having the very different numbers of the values. So this is one of the best approach which is given by Lopez de Menteras. So to overcome the problem of gain ratio. So this is in detail about the third issue or the approach in decision tree learning, that is alternative measure for selecting the attributes. So it is purely based on the gain ratio, which in turn make use of the split information. So in this category, the next one is handling the training examples with the missing attribute values, right? So as you know, in certain cases, the available data may be missing values for some attributes. So some of the attributes may be having the missing values. For example, if you consider in a medical domain in which we wish to predict the patient outcome based on various laboratory tests, and it may be that the lab test, that is blood test result, is available only for a subset of patients but not for all the patients. So in such cases it is common to estimate the missing attribute value based on the other examples for which this attribute has a known value. So this is what the one more example here where you can see this particular attribute, humidity attribute, here it is having the missing value. So like this, some attributes may be having the missing values in the available data, right? Now consider the situation in which a gain of s comma a is to be calculated at a node small n in the decision tree to evaluate whether the attribute a is the best attribute to test at this decision node or not. Suppose that x comma c of x is one of the training example in capital S, and that the value a of x is unknown. I hope you understood this situation. Here consider a situation in which gain of s comma a is to be calculated at a node n in the decision tree to evaluate whether the attribute a is the best attribute to test at this decision node. Suppose that x comma c of x is one of the training example in S, and the value a of x is unknown. Consider this attribute value is unknown. So to overcome this, there are many strategies. So many strategies are used here for dealing with the missing attribute value. So one such strategy for dealing with the missing attribute value is to assign it the value that is most common among the training examples at node n. Alternatively, we might assign it the most common value among the examples at a node n that have the classification C of x. Here, the elaborated training example is using this estimated value for A of x that can then be used directly by the existing decision tree learning algorithm. So this strategy is estimated by the person called as Mingers, and he has estimated this in 1989. So this is one approach. And second approach is that the more complex procedure. So second one is a bit complex procedure here. So that is to assign a probability to each of the possible values of A. A means attribute here, rather than simply assigning the most common value to A of X. So these probabilities means in this approach we are going to assign some probability to each of the attribute value, right? So these probabilities can be estimated again based on the observed frequency of the various values for A among the examples at a node n. For example, given a Boolean attribute A, if a node n contains 6 unknown examples with A equal to 1 and 4 with A equal to 0, then we would say that the probability that A of x equal to 1 is 0.6. Means for the probability, means for this example, that is a of x equal to 1. So for this example, now consider the probability is 0.6, and for the examples a of x equal to 0, the probability value is 0.4. I will repeat. Now consider a Boolean attribute A. If node n contains 6 unknown, that is 6 known examples with a equal to 1 and 4 with a equal to 0, right? Now for a of x equal to 1, we'll consider the probability as 0.6, and for the example a of x equal to 0, we'll consider the probability as 0.4. So a fractional 0.6 of instance x is now distributed down the branch for a equal to 1, and a fractional 0.4 of x down the other tree branch. So we are assigning this probability for two branches of the tree. For one branch we are going to assign a fraction, that is 0.6 probability value, and for the other branch, that is for the other tree branch, we are going to assign the fractional probability value 0.4. So these fractional examples are used for the purpose of computing the information gain and can be further subdivided at the subsequent branches of the tree if a second missing attribute value must be tested. So this probability value that we are further subdividing at the subsequent branches based on the missing attribute value which is to be tested. So the same fractioning of the examples can also be applied after the learning. So to classify the new instances whose attribute values are unknown in this case, right? So in this case, the classification of new instance is simply the most probable classification, which is computed by summing the weight of the instance fragments that are classified in different ways at the leaf node of the tree. So this method for handling the missing attribute value is used in one of the algorithm, that is C4.5 algorithm, which is one of the decision tree algorithm was developed by Quinlan. Means this particular approach is the most commonly used in C4.5 algorithm. So this is also one of the important issue to be considered in decision tree learning, and the strategies to be used for dealing with the missing attribute value. And in the next class that I am going to discuss handling attributes with differing cost. So that is what the very last concept in this particular model. So in next class that I will try to complete this model. Thank you.